Fight. Have you ever caught yourself snapping back faster than you meant to? Like your mouth jumped in before the rest of you had a chance to breathe? That's the fight response, your nervous system choosing confrontation as your default way of reacting to conflict because it feels safer than letting something hang in the air. Your posture tightens, your heart rate climbs, blood flows to your muscles, and everything in you leans toward challenging whatever feels off, unfair, or out of control. Long before arguments happened over text or kitchens or conference rooms, that reaction kept people alive. Meeting a threat head-on showed strength, protected your group, and stopped danger before it hurt anyone. And now, in modern-day conflict, that instinct makes you the person who speaks up when something feels wrong. You can say the hard thing out loud, hold your ground, and shut the problem down when everyone else is tiptoeing around it. The problem is, sometimes that same strength can land harder than you mean it to. What feels like, "I need this to stop," inside your head can feel like a personal attack to someone who isn't built the same way. But underneath that heat is something people rarely recognize. You're just trying to restore safety the fastest way your body knows how. Flight. Do you ever notice how, in the middle of tension, your mind immediately starts looking for the nearest exit before anything else? That's the flight response, the urge to physically leave the room, walk away from the argument, or put real space between yourself and the conflict. It's your nervous system's way of telling you to retreat to a safer distance. In evolutionary terms, flight was a literal lifesaver. When faced with a predator or any immediate danger, the humans who instinctively ran were the ones who survived. Today, that same instinct works to your advantage by helping you de-escalate conflict before it turns destructive. Leaving a stressful situation gives you the chance to cool down, avoid saying things you might regret, and come back with a clearer head. Some might see it as running away, but the truth is, you're just choosing the path that keeps things from getting out of control. Sometimes the smartest move is getting out of the storm long enough to let the wind die down. Freeze. Picture a moment where someone confronts you and your brain suddenly feels like a spinning cursor. You're awake, you're aware, but every response feels locked behind a door you can't open. That's the freeze response doing exactly what it was designed to do: make you still, make you quiet, and make you less noticeable when a threat feels like too much. In early human life, staying motionless and silent made it harder for predators to detect you and bought you time to better assess danger. In modern-day conflicts, freezing works the same way. In that silence, you absorb details, avoid acting impulsively, and pick up the real meaning of what is being said. While people argue around you, you're giving yourself breathing room so you don't get dragged somewhere you don't want to go. The downside is appearing detached or unfeeling, but stillness isn't apathy. It's your system choosing caution over chaos, a temporary shelter where you can sort everything out. Humor. Ever catch yourself cracking a joke at the worst possible time? Humor under stress doesn't happen because the situation is funny. It happens because your brain is trying to release pressure without blowing anything up. When it works, it can drop the emotional tension faster than almost any other response. But when it's poorly timed or misinterpreted, it can inadvertently make things a whole lot worse. Evolutionarily, humor kept small groups calm and connected. Laughter softened tension, restored cooperation, and signaled that the situation wasn't as catastrophic as it felt. Now, that same instinct lets you diffuse arguments before they spiral, redirect anger, and give people much-needed perspective when they are too wound up to find it themselves. Of course, not everyone reads humor the same way. Some think you're dismissing them or brushing things off. But the truth is, you understand that a room that's laughing, even a little, is a room that can finally talk. Crying. It's maddening to feel your eyes well up the moment tension starts to rise. But crying under stress is a biochemical release, not a moral failure. Tears activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which lowers your heart rate to help calm you down. For some people, crying became a familiar response because it was the only safe and acceptable way for them to express frustration in childhood, so their body still goes there when emotions run high. In conflict, tears often communicate more honesty than any argument could. Crying keeps you from bottling your emotions, communicates that something matters deeply, and signals to others that a boundary has been crossed. And when emotion shows up openly, without rage or defensiveness, people often shift from attacking to trying to understand. The disadvantage, of course, is perception. Crying can be misinterpreted as helplessness and weakness, but in reality, it signals truth, it signals impact, and it often stops conflict faster than raised voices ever could. Fawning. In every conflict, there's always one person trying to hold the whole room together with politeness alone. If this is your stress response, you automatically try to smooth things over without even thinking about it, softening your tone, agreeing to what is said, and doing whatever it takes to make everyone happy. It's the instinct to prevent things from getting worse by giving in, shrinking back, or saying whatever stops the tension from rising, even if it costs you your own needs in the moment. That reaction is actually a form of emotional intelligence. You read moods quickly, notice inconsistencies between words and behavior, and know exactly what to do to prevent tension from boiling over. People rarely explode around you because you instinctively de-escalate tough situations, but fawning or appeasing can come with a cost. You can lose your voice in the process, end up agreeing to things you don't actually want, and often get taken advantage of. What most people never acknowledge is you're just trying to keep everyone safe, including yourself. Hypervigilance. You step into a tense situation and immediately start scanning everything, not just where the exits are, but facial expressions, body language, tone, and the energy in the room. Your attention locks onto anything that might signal danger, and you become more alert and aware than anyone else. Hypervigilance usually develops after an experience where missing a signal meant getting hurt, and your body learned to track every detail so nothing will catch you off guard. It's also an instinct that traces back to people who survived by noticing danger early. Being the first to spot a threat meant you could warn others and keep the group safe. In modern conflict, that same instinct makes you unusually prepared and perceptive. You anticipate how a situation might unfold, plan for the worst outcome before anyone else realizes it's a possibility, and react quickly when things start to go sideways. You're the one who knows what to do when everyone else freezes, because your mind is already 6 to 7 steps ahead. The downside is living in a constant state of alert. When your brain is always scanning for danger, it's easy to jump to the worst-case scenario. That level of vigilance is exhausting and can make neutral situations feel threatening even when nothing is wrong. Information seeking. When conflict hits, your instinct is to grab every fact, example, message thread, or explanation you can find. That's information seeking as a stress response. Instead of freezing or fighting, your nervous system switches into problem-solving mode. Your mind races toward clarity because not knowing the real truth feels more stressful than the conflict itself. The more information you gather, the easier it is to separate emotion from facts, understand what actually happened, and make a decision based on something solid rather than panic. It's also a way of slowing everything down so you don't react impulsively or say something you can't take back. In heated situations, that tendency to verify and get the facts straight often prevents misunderstandings from exploding into something beyond control. The hard part is you can't always get every detail you need. Some situations move too fast, information is missing, or you simply don't have access to both sides of the story. That can leave you stuck waiting for answers you may never get, making it harder to respond in the moment. Still, your instinct comes from the right place. You'd rather understand what's real than react to what's assumed. Tunnel vision. There's a stress response where your attention locks onto one specific detail so tightly that everything else fades into the background. That's tunnel vision. Your focus narrows, your heart rate picks up, and your system pours all your energy into a single target because it feels safer than juggling the entire conflict at once. This response helped earlier humans stay fixed on the most immediate threat. A noise in the dark, a movement at the tree line, any signal of danger that needed fast attention. In modern times, that translates as performance under pressure. When you're locked in, you can complete tasks with precision because nothing else competes for your attention. You block out irrelevant details, keep moving forward when others get overwhelmed, and concentrate fully on the one immediate priority that needs your attention right now. Others might think you're ignoring the full picture, but that isn't the goal. You're keeping your focus where it matters, on the only thing you can control. Task switching. If tunnel vision is all about locking on to a single detail, then task switching is its opposite. Instead of focusing on one thing, your brain jumps rapidly from one action to the next, cleaning the counter, reorganizing your desk, typing an email, pacing across the room. Your thoughts feel chaotic, and physical activity becomes the quickest outlet your nervous system can find. The advantage is emotional regulation. Shifting tasks gives your mind something else to focus on, burns off excess energy, and creates just enough distance from the conflict to keep you from saying something you'll regret. The downside is it rarely solves the problem, and people might think you're avoiding the issue. But honestly, you usually end up knocking out a dozen other things in the process while giving yourself a moment to come back with a clearer head. Tend and befriend. Do you ever notice that when stress hits, you immediately reach out to a friend, a coworker, or anyone you know and love, just to feel like you're not dealing with it alone? That's the tend and befriend response. Instead of focusing solely on the conflict itself, your instinct is to connect, talk it through, and make sure you've got support behind you. It's a biologically rooted instinct to create safety through closeness and connection. Talking to someone helps you sort your thoughts, see things more objectively, and get some validation from someone who can relate. It's not always easy to lean on your support system, because it means admitting you don't have all the answers, and a lot of people find that tough. But sharing the load calms the nervous system, keeps you from spiraling, and having an outside perspective helps you make smarter, more grounded decisions. Of course, this response isn't perfect. You can end up doubting your own judgment until someone else confirms it, and not everyone wants others involved. Even so, it reflects a real strength, the wisdom to know you don't have to carry everything alone. Rumination. After the conflict ends, your mind sometimes refuses to let it go. It replays everything, picking apart each line, every expression, every shift in tone. That's rumination, a stress response that tries to extract meaning and rewrite the past long after everyone else has moved on. It's your brain's way of trying to regain control by imagining a different outcome. Ruminating actually serves a purpose. It helps you learn from what happened. By going over the details, you can spot patterns and figure out what you might do differently next time. It's simply your mind's attempt to help you avoid repeating the same mistakes and handle similar situations better in the future. The problem is that rumination can sometimes feel like it never stops, keeping you stuck in the past. But when it finally settles, you usually walk away understanding the moment more deeply than anyone else involved. Whatever your go-to response in conflict is, it isn't a flaw. It's just your nervous system trying to protect you the only way it knows how. If you enjoy diving into the real psychology and biology behind human behavior, hit subscribe and stick around for more.